Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. India becomes fourth nation to cross $700 billion in Forex Reserves. Nobel Prize in Physics awarded for training artificial neural networks using physics. Department of Atomic Energy inaugurated the major atmospheric Cherenkov experiment observatory at Hanli, Ladakh. Supreme Court flags discriminatory attitude towards elected women representatives in rural areas. India eliminates trachoma as a public health problem, says WHO. External Affairs Minister recently expressed concerns over the increasing weaponization of trade. India has achieved a remarkable milestone, becoming the fourth nation in the world to cross $700 billion in foreign exchange reserves, joining the ranks of China, Japan, and Switzerland. This achievement underscored India's growing financial strength on the global stage. India's foreign exchange reserves now cover a substantial 11.9 months of imports, well above the widely accepted standard of 6 months. But what exactly are Forex Reserves? Forex Reserves are assets held by a country's central bank. In India, the RBI Act of 1934 contains the enabling provisions for the Reserve Bank of India to act as the custodian of Forex Reserve and manage reserves within the defined objectives. These reserves consist of four main components. First, the foreign currency assets, the largest portion comprising currencies like the US dollar, euro, and others. Second, gold reserves, providing a hedge against inflation and currency fluctuations. Third, special drawing rights, an asset issued by the International Monetary Fund based on a basket of 5 major currencies. Fourth, reserve tranche position, India's quota with the IMF. The surge in India's reserve is driven by factors like foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investment, and remittances. The significance of Forex reserves cannot be overstated. Forex reserves play a crucial role in safeguarding a country's economy. They help manage crises by providing foreign currency liquidity, which can absorb shocks during turbulent times. These reserves also enable a nation to meet its financial obligations, such as repaying international debts and financing imports. Additionally, a healthy reserve position reassures investors and credit rating agencies, instilling confidence that external obligations will be met. Moreover, it enhances the central bank's ability to intervene in foreign exchange markets, ensuring currency stability. In a groundbreaking development, the Nobel Prize in Physics has been awarded for significant advancements in training artificial neural networks using the principles of physics. The prestigious award has been jointly given to John Hopfield and Geoffrey Hinton for their pioneering work, which laid the foundation for machine learning, which is a critical aspect of artificial intelligence. Now, let's start by understanding what ANNs are. Artificial neural networks are a subset of machine learning algorithms designed to mimic the workings of the human brain. These networks consist of interconnected nodes or artificial neurons that process information much like the neurons in our brain do. Now, let's dive into the discoveries made by John Hopfield and Geoffrey Hinton. First, John Hopfield invented a type of neural network aptly named the Hopfield network. This network is capable of storing and recalling patterns similar to how human memory works. What's fascinating is that this network utilizes physics principles related to a material's characteristics caused by atomic spin, which is the magnetic moment of atoms. Moving on to Geoffrey Hinton, his contribution includes the invention of the Boltzmann machine. The Boltzmann machine learns by using examples that it may see while it works. For instance, it can sort images or even create new patterns based on what it has learned. Like Hopfield's work, Hinton's machine also relies on methods from statistical physics. Let's now discuss the role of ANNs in AI. ANNs are the foundation of deep learning, a branch of machine learning that handles large datasets and complex models. They are integral to AI systems used for image recognition, natural language processing, and even autonomous systems, allowing these technologies to make decisions without human input. For example, an ANN trained on thousands of medical images can eventually detect tumors in new images with remarkable accuracy. In a significant leap for India's astronomical research, the Department of Atomic Energy has inaugurated the major atmospheric Cherenkov Experiment Observatory in Hanle, Ladakh. This event is a major highlight of DAE's Platinum Jubilee Year celebrations, marking 70 years of its establishment in 1954 under the Atomic Energy Act of 1948. Since then, DAE has been spearheading research and development for peaceful applications of atomic energy. The MACE Observatory, now the largest imaging Cherenkov telescope in Asia and the second largest in the world, is a proud achievement for India. It stands at an altitude of around 4,300 meters, making it the highest telescope of its kind globally. Its primary objective is to observe high-energy gamma rays, providing crucial insights into some of the universe's most energetic phenomena, such as black holes, gamma-ray bursts, etc. Named after the Russian physicist Pavel Cherenkov, who discovered Cherenkov radiation, the MACE telescope was indigenously built by the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, with support from the Electronics Corporation of India Limited or ECIL. The observatory will complement global facilities like the high-energy stereoscopic system, advancing the international study of gamma-ray astronomy. Gamma rays, the most energetic form of radiation in the electromagnetic spectrum, are emitted by extreme cosmic events like neutron stars and supernova explosion and regions around black holes. On Earth, gamma rays are generated by nuclear explosions, lightning, and the less dramatic activity of radioactive decay. Hanle in the remote Changthang region of Ladakh was chosen for the MACE observatory due to its dry, cold desert climate, sparse human population, cloudless skies, and low atmospheric water vapor. These are the ideal conditions for high-precision observations. This site is also part of the Hanle Dark Sky Reserve, established to promote astrotourism in 2022. In a significant ruling, the Supreme Court has flagged the discriminatory attitude faced by elected women representatives in rural areas. The case involved a woman sarpanch who was removed by the district administration in a Maharashtra village. The court highlighted the resistance these women often face in Panchayats despite being democratically elected. So what are the challenges these women leaders encounter? One of the major issues is that many EWRs serve as rubber stamps, with the real decision-making power in the hands of their husbands or male family members. There is also widespread gender bias and social barriers. Domestic responsibilities and deep-rooted prejudices limit their ability to bring about meaningful social change. Further, state policies also pose hurdles. For instance, some states like Rajasthan impose criteria such as a two-child norm or minimum educational qualifications, making it difficult for women to contest elections. The rotation of seats adds to the problem, as many EWRs are unable to serve beyond a single term. Other challenges include the digital divide, a lack of knowledge and training, and cultural constraints which collectively hinder their effectiveness. But how can we move forward and support these women? Institutional reforms are one solution, recruiting more women into other panchayat roles such as panchayat secretary and establishing monitoring systems to prevent interference by male counterparts. Another key step is strengthening women's collective agency by nurturing federations of EWRs and encouraging platforms like self-help groups. Additionally, investing in capacity building through education and maintaining coherent data for comprehensive assessment are critical steps. Now, let's take a quick look at the status of elected women representatives in rural governance. In India, around 1.4 million women, which accounts for 46% of all elected representatives in Panchayati Raj institutions, are serving in these roles. This progress is largely due to the 73rd Constitutional Amendment of 1992, which mandated the reservation of at least one-third of seats for women. Some states like Bihar and Chhattisgarh have increased this reservation to 50%. EWRs have proven their significance in rural governance, contributing to improved service delivery, reduced corruption, inclusive governance, and greater gender equality. However, addressing the challenges they face remains critical for further empowering women in leadership roles across rural India. In a remarkable achievement for public health, India has officially eliminated trachoma as a public health problem according to the World Health Organization. With this, India becomes the third country in the Southeast Asia region to do so, following in the footsteps of Nepal and Myanmar. This accomplishment comes after India was previously declared free from two other neglected tropical diseases, guinea worm disease in 2000 and yaws in 2016. Let's take a closer look at trachoma. The disease that India has now eradicated. Trachoma is an eye-infecting disease caused by the bacterium Chlamydia trachomatis. It is a contagious disease which spreads through contact with infected eyes, nose, or even clothing. If left untreated, trachoma can lead to irreversible blindness. Back in 1971, 5% of blindness in India was attributed to trachoma. Today, that figure has dropped to less than 1%. India's success in eliminating this disease can be credited to various interventions, including the National Programme for Control of Blindness and Visual Impairment and the adoption of WHO's SAFE strategy, which stands for Surgery, Antibiotics, Facial Cleanliness, and Environmental Improvement. So what exactly are neglected tropical diseases or NTDs? These are a diverse group of conditions caused by a range of pathogens such as viruses, bacteria, and parasites. They primarily affect impoverished communities in tropical regions with poor environmental conditions. They are referred to as neglected because they are often absent from the global health agenda, receive low funding, and are associated with stigma and social exclusion. Globally, efforts to combat NTDs include initiatives like the Global NTD Annual Reporting Form, Global Vector Control Response 2017-2030, and the Kigali Declaration on NTDs in 2022. In India, the National Vector-Borne Diseases Control Program plays a vital role in addressing these diseases. In a recent statement, India's External Affairs Minister expressed deep concerns over the rising trend of trade being used as a weapon in global geopolitics. He warned that the increasing weaponization of trade is leading to widespread job losses and deteriorating living standards across many nations, affecting economies that are heavily reliant on global trade. Trade weaponization refers to the use of trade as a tool for foreign policy, where countries leverage their trade relationships to coerce or pressure other nations into adopting policies or making decisions in favor to initiating countries' geopolitical or security interests. This trend has seen trade evolving from being a means of economic cooperation to a method of achieving political objectives. Let's now discuss the key tools for trade weaponization. First, we have impediments to trade. These include restrictions such as delaying customs clearance or introducing hurdles related to environmental standards and intellectual property rights. For instance, in 2022, China blocked imports of certain goods, including citrus and fish, from Taiwan. Second comes from the sanctions and embargoes. These involve cutting off imports and exports selectively, as seen in the US, imposing sanctions under the Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act, targeting countries like Iran, Russia, and North Korea. The fallout from such practices includes: first, protectionism. Countries impose tariffs to shield domestic industries from foreign competition. A prime example is the China shock that led to tariffs against Chinese products. Second, trade wars. Retaliatory tariffs, as seen in the ongoing US-China trade war since 2018, disrupt global markets. And third, supply chain disruptions. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed vulnerabilities in global supply chains, further exacerbating the effects of trade weaponization. To tackle this challenge, several strategies are being adopted. Firstly, institutional cooperation. Platforms like the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity and Mineral Security Partnership are promoting collective economic resilience. Secondly, supply chain resilience. Countries are diversifying their trade relationships, embracing innovation, and adopting digital technologies to reduce reliance on any single nation. Thirdly, counter strategies. Initiatives like China Plus One, which encourages diversifying business beyond China, and friendshoring, focusing on trade between economic allies, are becoming popular tactics. In today's Place in News, we will discuss Lebanon with its capital, Beirut. In recent escalations, Israel has ramped up its offensive against Hezbollah by deploying more troops along the southern part of Lebanon. Let's talk about its political features. It is a narrow strip of territory along the eastern shore of Mediterranean Sea and a West Asian country, part of the Levant region on the northern Arabian Peninsula. Its bordering countries are Syria to the north and northeast and Israel to the south. It shares its maritime boundary with Cyprus. In terms of its geographical features, it is home to Lebanon mountains, that is, Jebel Lebanon, Anti-Lebanon, and Hermon ranges. Its highest peak is Qurnat al-Sauda. Additionally, Lebanon features Bekaa or Al-Bekaa Valley. Lastly, its major rivers are Litani, Baalbek, Orontes, etc. As we conclude today's bulletin, let's have a look at some quick updates. Exercise Malabar 2024 commenced in Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. Exercise Malabar 2024 is an annual maritime exercise which will take place both in harbour and at sea. Atal Pension Yojana has surpassed 7 crore enrollment. Launched by the Ministry of Finance in 2015, its objective is to create a universal social security system for all Indians, especially underprivileged and workers in unorganized sector. SEBI has issued guidelines for investors in alternative investment funds to prevent loan evergreening, a practice where banks give new loans to borrowers who are unable to repay existing loans, often to avoid classifying previous loans as non-performing assets. Global body World Association of Zoos and Aquariums has suspended membership of Delhi Zoo over plight of an African elephant. Established in 1935, its objective is to support zoos, aquariums, and similar organizations in animal care, welfare, environmental education, and global conservation. Recently, a woman from Madhya Pradesh was scammed by placing her under digital arrest. New method of cyber fraud where fraudsters make audio or video calls posing as law enforcement officers, confining a victim under digital arrest citing their involvement in an illegal activity. Union Minister of Road Transport and Highways launched the Humsafar policy. Humsafar policy will provide a comprehensive framework to ensure that the commuters have access to standardized, well-maintained and hygienic facilities along national highways and expressways. National Tiger Conservation Authorities has given approval to develop Kaimur Wildlife Sanctuary as Bihar's second tiger reserve after Valmiki Tiger Reserve. NTCA is a statutory body established under Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. 10th Wild Ass Population Survey conducted by Gujarat Forest Department has found a 26.14%, that is 6,082 in 2020 to 7,672 in 2024 increase in the population of Indian wild ass. Indian wild ass is one of the 5 subspecies of the Asiatic wild ass referred to as Gudkhar. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Knowledge. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solution to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.